trailer trash versus educated. So we have a couple at our table that are parents and mothers and fathers. So as we broke down our circles, we realized there's more that is common about us than that's different about us.
Anyone else want to share maybe a particular story or something they heard?
I would say our table had a similar sort of commonality about being caring, whether that's a mom or just sort of in your characteristic. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're perfect and always want to care for somebody else. You also need to sort of have some self-care, and people take care of you and be the caring one towards you, which I think was a common thread on our table.
Does anybody want to share their statement? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I am very caring and worthy, but I am not a person to take advantage of.
How many people can relate to that? You wanted to share?
Yeah, I wrote, I am African American, but I am not ghetto or a baby's mama.
Does anybody else want to share? We have two good.
I am a Christian, but I am not a saint.
Listen then.
I'm Puerto Rican, but I probably will not fit in your idea of what Puerto Ricans are.
I said I'm a Christian, but I'm not closed-minded.
I said I'm a singer, but I'm not a professional.
Deborah?
I'm a mom with many values of life, but don't take my kindness for weakness.
Did anyone hear something that maybe they at one point bought into? Something like a statement that someone made that, wow, I may have thought that generally of maybe parents or something.
I can say Carlos educated me about the differences in being Puerto Rican versus Puerto Rican and Puerto Rico versus Puerto Rican and what we see in America, and how there's a big difference. And Puerto Rican culture is not something I'm familiar with, but I do have families on my caseload that are Puerto Rican, so what I'm learning is from them, but Puerto Rican in America, he's saying, is very different than Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico, and just how they're I don't want to say their values, but they're more into, like Carlos was saying, more into politics, they're more into the sports, they're more fanatical, not in a negative way, about being Puerto Rican and pursuing their goals and that drive to do better. And he's seen some Puerto Ricans here in America who just might be lazy, what we might term as lazy for a lack of a better word. So just that education about there's more to being Puerto Rican than just what the American stereotype is.
You know, at our table, I heard a lot about parents, and many at our table were actually talk about how parenting was something great that they experienced in their life, and with that, many sort of difficult experiences with every differences between the children, even with some of the children who might have suffered from serious emotional disturbances. And it's interesting hearing from different perspectives of parents, because you generalize and you might make a statement saying, well, all parents who have kids are a certain way, and that's not true for everyone. So I think for me, it was nice to hear the different perspectives about that. Anyone else want to share?
Can I just, Greg, I liked what I was sharing here with everybody at the table, but I just by hearing what you just said, Carlos, kind of spoke to me a lot, and it just gave me like a crash of like, being hired here 3 years ago when the CSA started, and all the things we needed to go through just to culturally be culturally competent and educate even our trainers in the wraparound process that came to us to train us, but had no idea what they're coming into. And that's something I'd like to talk to you about later. but the idea, but in a serious note, it was falling and getting up and training, and that's something that, and we had a big discussion in the car, and we're gonna get much better at that. But it really, just listen to you, just here, I just thought of a lot of things that I've been through, just being here and the culture and really what it means to be. Because myself being from Puerto Rico, but also being a diverse family, having a French mom and that background, I've always felt sort of like a gypsy. Because even being in Puerto Rico, people were asking me, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I was born here. What does that mean, Mom?" You know? So, but that shows to know how big diversity and culture is. So how can we sit there and try to just to look at somebody clinically or not, without understanding what the religious background is, understanding what the cultural background is, to move forward, to understand the family, to work with every family. Because not because I'm Puerto Rican doesn't mean I'm going to get along with you. And how many times have I put in a place and say, "Well, you talk Puerto Rican, go have a discussion."
Go ahead, talk about what?
And I can tell you exactly. I've been in that situation. I have been in that situation. So anyway, so I'm glad you said that.
Edna, you wanted to share?
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to share kind of like in general some stuff. All of us are women, on the table, and it was interesting to see that, the thing we most proud of, everybody said the mother, being a mother. That was, the thing, as it were. And I also noticed, everybody kind of like put kind of their ethnic background, something that they identify with, as, one of the things, either Irish, Polish, and Puerto Rican, but also, and I'm Haitian, but also there was like, this conflict about, kind of, we didn't know what to put, in one category because, it was like so many different things. There was like, okay, I value my family, but I also value the community. So do I put only family or community? Do I put Puerto Rican or Latino, Latina? It's like, all those, different things because society kind of tend to put you in that little box, but you're really more than that.
Right.
So that was one of the stuff, that was going on the table. That was interesting.
That's nice. I think,
And
go ahead.
I would say, with Stephanie's permission, can I say, I really like, Stephanie's, statement. I'm from New York, but I'm not a Yankee fan.
I think, to piggyback on the circles, I think it's meant to really use some generalized statements. And the reality is that as individuals, we're really complex. We're made up of so many things that honestly cannot be put into 4 circles. And even if you try, like you said, you mentioned, you have to think about then what am I going to actually phrase myself as? So that's interesting. Anyone else want to share?
For ours, we had all different kind of age was a factor in when we had our children, or whether we were stepmoms or parents or had adopted children or foster children or had guardianship of children, and it was all really a mix. And when people got their education and how their jobs played into it. And so it was interesting when we talked to a lot of young adults when we were talking about putting together this this event. They were saying, well, we have to look at age too and think about when you approach certain things and what you achieve when you had your kids. And so we had a very interesting discussion around that, how education and jobs played into how we raised our family and how we interacted with our family and how it influenced our development and our kids continue to influence our development.
Anyone else want to share a statement or a story?
I think it would be, I was just thinking, if you were to change the sentence and take the negative out of it and see what type of results you would get versus being I am and I am what's yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to collect all of them. So maybe you can hold on to them for now, or I think we're going to be going to break, but I'll pass it over to Ed. And thank you again for your participation.
So is it actually
She's from the house.
Okay, I think we have a somewhat awkward let me ask a question. We are actually doing extremely well with time. I wonder whether I can, and this actually will one of the things that we would also like to do, even though we started a little late, but I think, it's amazing how this worked out very smoothly, is maybe we can do one thing that John, you want to come up? Sure. We'll do it now rather than later. I just want to emphasize that this is actually a great exercise. And Oma is absolutely correct that, as a matter of fact, if you have more time, you can even put more circles to understanding who you are. And then also really, and someone say, we are healthcare professionals, and we also need self-care. Part of it, we haven't enough spent time to talk about self-care. And I think we will. Actually, maybe what we can do is that one of the next time when we meet, maybe we can focus a little bit about self-care itself. I already wrote that down. But I just want to say that isn't that complex to get to know someone? Because this is more than just 4 circles. Could be 5 circles, 6 circles, 7 circles, 8 circles, and so forth. And I think that's where we're going to talk about this morning, is that what about knowing, as a healer, what about knowing the youth, the young adults, and their families? How do you do that? Because there's a lot of circles who you see and how you're going to work with. And I think we'll come to that agenda after this. John actually gave me an idea, and also the planning group idea, when we were talking about that. This is a great group exercise. And I know that many of you actually know each other pretty well. But I think it's an opportunity, if we can just spend maybe 10 minutes, pushing hard now in terms of, getting you to say something about yourself.
Something that you value. This came up, I was saying, Ed, my favorite icebreaker is saying, tell us something you're grateful for. But Ed thought that for cultural competence and linguistic competence, something we really value. And, related to culture or not, but given that we're in a cultural linguistic competence, grouping together and working together, something you really value.
So maybe just one value, because of time. If you can just say who you are, your name, your agency, and one thing that you value.
Yeah, my name is John, and one of the things I value is I love paid training.